So Tommy, you also do a superhero book. And I have to say that my 14-year-old self, my 14-year-old X-Men New Mutants reading self from 1989 is in love with Pride High. And so I wanted to ask you a few things. I wanted to ask you if you were inspired by certain material, whether it's from comics or from TV or novels or whatever, and what kind of artistic goals you have for the book.
Well, I think probably my biggest inspiration was my high school experience, and I think it's a melding of the first high school that I went to was really rough. I would say like probably every day I was getting bullied, and high school can be really cruel, and just the words that get thrown around, the people that really make it their mission in life to make you feel as low as possible. And then I went to a different high school, and it was just like a complete 9-day difference. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned was that I had amazing friends at the first high school, but because I wasn't sure about myself and my own identity, they took their cues from me. And so I think that they weren't really equipped to back me up the way that at the second high school I had already gone through things. I figured out that, yes, I am gay. And by having that, the friends at the second school, when people would say things, they were right there for me because they were sure, they weren't, because I think at the first school, people would try to defend me by saying that I was not gay, which didn't really help things, even though they were trying. So, I think that the experience of like just combining those two, just completely different worlds, really inspired Pride High, and in a lot of ways, it's a thank you to all the straight friends that really didn't have to take up the cause, but they did because that's what friendship meant to them.
So what are some of the moments in the book that you can cite that maybe are, if not literally, but in spirit, lifted from specific moments that you can remember?
Well, just there is a character named Chip who is this short little British boy who he's totally straight, but people totally call him a fag because his friends are gay and they're open about it. And one thing that he doesn't correct them because he doesn't care. And I've had friends like that, and that takes a lot because that's the worst thing that you can call somebody in high school. It really is. And to have a friend that's willing to just say, or not even say anything, just let them assume. That's a really powerful statement, and that really helped me get through the day.
So Mari, you are a translator, and a lot of people, perhaps myself included, don't know the scope of the translator's job, and I wanted to find out a little bit from you about your process. And is it harder than it sounds? And are you capturing the essence of the book, but essentially rewriting it from the ground up, or what? Just talk a little bit about your process.
Well, the world of manga has shifted over the last 2 decades, really, and especially in the last 5 to 10 years. So even when I started is different than what I'm doing right now. What essentially happens is that I get a book in Japanese, the graphic novel, and I go through it and I do translate it word for word, and then depending on the company and right now I work also for the last 2 or 3 years for Del Rey Manga, which is part of Random House, and depending on where it is and who the editor is and what the title is, I will either hand in an unpolished script, what's known as a literal script, to my rewriter or editor, or I will do my own rewriting and polishing up. And the polishing up is mainly making sure that it flows smoothly, both grammatically in terms of the language, but also in terms of the storytelling. And oftentimes I have discussions with the other staff that are on the team about whether names should be changed because we are working in a different language. And for those of you who are familiar with the Japanese language, there's the phonetic language and then there's the Chinese characters, the kanji that we use. And so names can have their pronunciation. Even my name, Mari, is pronounced Mari, but there are Chinese characters that make up the 2 syllables, and the characters have their own meaning as well. My name actually means truth and purity, which my friends always laugh about. So for something like Naruto, there are several volumes I think about from 10 or 11 to 14 when I had an editor that really trusted my own rewriting skills. So that's pretty much what you see in print is what I submitted to my editor. And then the stuff before that and the stuff after that has been rewritten. So, and that's why Viz in particular will always say adaptation rather than translation. So that's one of the big differences.